Good evening, and welcome to All Things Small Business podcast here at the Small Business Spot on YouTube. I just want to say that this podcast has been on a long break since well before the 2022 elections in Prince George's County, Maryland, and it has always been my plan to bring it back. And that's what we're doing tonight. We're back and back in full effect with no better way to bring it in with some good news in Prince George's County. So stay tuned. And we are live on this Friday night talking all things small business at the Small Biz Spot. And we got some really good news to talk about this evening. And I'm just going to bring up our guest because I can't think of a better way to launch the remix of all things small business. So I'm going to be talking to David Iannucci, who is president and CEO of the Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation, and he's going to help us understand the FBI coming to Prince George's County. Hey, David.
Good evening. Hello, Denise. Nice to see you. Very nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you so much for carving out some time on this Friday evening. Before we get down to it, can I just ask you a real quick question?
Okay.
What'd you have for dinner tonight?
Chicken and rice.
How was the chicken cooked?
Giant Food cooked it. So they did a very nice job.
Okay, so I guess the reason why I'm asking that question is because I have recently had to go on a new program with a nutritionist due to my A1C is now putting me at, borderline kind of thing. So now I kind of have to live vicariously through other people's stomachs.
Okay.
So I was hoping you were going to say something else, but Anyway, okay, so let's talk about the FBI, right?
Okay.
So the decision has been made to locate the FBI headquarters here in Prince George's County at the Greenbelt location. Why is this such a big deal?
It is a huge deal. It is a generational, once in a lifetime type of victory for Prince George's County, for Maryland. It has been literally 14 years in the making when Congressman Steny Hoyer first had a conversation with the then FBI director, who was totally in favor of a high security campus. The bottom line is the J. Edgar Hoover building is crumbling. It's falling down. They literally have nets to catch pieces of concrete. It doesn't serve a modern FBI workforce, security issues in terms of safety of the employees. But with the technology that's in use now, with the size of the workforce, less than half of the FBI in the Washington area can actually get in the Hoover building. So it's an inefficient operation for the men and women who are protecting us from all sorts of dangers, both in criminal and public safety and cybersecurity and things like that. So it was imperative that this building be replaced. Here we are 14 years later, after this process started and stopped, and then with thanks to Congressman Hoyer, Senator Cardin, Senator Van Hollen, county executive, it was restarted. And we have this wonderful, wonderful news a week ago that Prince George's County's Greenbelt Metro Station has been selected as a home for 7,500 employees in a consolidated high security campus at that location. Truly a wonderful day for Prince George's County. If I can say it'll do two things. It'll change our economy really for decades.
How so?
Well, we'll have 7,000. Well, we will think of what the Pentagon did on the west side of the Potomac River when Roosevelt made that decision, and all of the contractors and government related offices that have concentrated to create that economic force that is Northern Virginia. We have the chance now to build around these 7,500 employees, hundreds and hundreds of government contractors that'll serve FBI, will bring high-paying jobs to Prince George's County, and it really will add to our economy in a multitude of ways in terms of when we get this concentration of office workers, of federal workers, of government contractors all around probably the northern part of Prince George's County. But Denise, it also changes our brand, very importantly. I think Prince George's County are walking a little taller today, and their shoulders are back, and they're smiling a little more, because after all these years and years and years of, frankly, neglect by the federal government, we are the big winner, and we, Washington region, and we should all be very happy and very proud about that.
So when you say it changes our brand, is that because Prince George's County has stepped up and legitimately put forth this proposal package, or whatever it's called, right? And
That's right.
and it just puts us in a position of authority. And is that what you mean by brand?
I think you did a nice job of that. It is, we proved that Prince George's County can compete, and we can compete and win for one of the largest federal construction contracts in history. And what it means that we're ready for it. We have the workforce here. We have the transportation logistics here. If you look at the 5 criteria, we won through a fair and transparent process, dotting all the I's, crossing the T's. Objective analysis shows out of the 5 criteria that the General Services Administration established, the Greenbelt site won outright on 4 of them. We won in terms of transportation access, close to Metro and so forth. We won on the factor, the General Services Administration's risk. This could be delayed. Some terrible problem could run up. We won very importantly on the equity issue, and the county executive talked about this a lot. Years of, frankly, neglect and Prince George's County being overlooked by the federal government to balance the allocation of federal jobs on the east and the west side of the Washington metropolitan area. We won on that, and by far we won on cost. This is the best advantage for the nation's taxpayers. The only thing we lost on was how close are you to Quantico? And
okay. So let me ask you this question. See, you mentioned this is years in the making. Now, I thought I saw in the a quote in Governor Moore's press release where the lieutenant governor said decades of work. To me, that means a minimum of 20 years.
Well, I think Congressman Hoyer will kind of time it to 2009 when it began. So a decade and a half and so forth. A long time.
It is a long time.
A long time for any project, public or private sector, to move forward. So he starts it in 2009. By about 2013, the General Services Administration was well into the first RFP process, where they narrowed 35 sites down to 3 sites: Greenbelt, Landover, and Springfield. We were on our way to winning in 2016 and 17. Greenbelt was going to win again under that criteria. The previous president stopped that procurement in its place, and the whole project died for a couple of years. But thanks to the leadership of Congressman Hoyer, Senator Cardin, and others, they were able to restart the process through congressional enactment and put the 3 sites back in play. We did an enormous amount of work. I was privileged to be part of a huge team that, under the county executive, working with congressional staff, Maryland Department of Commerce staff, all under the leadership of all these great elected officials. And the package that was put together was a winning package, a very, very strong package, and we should be proud of that.
Okay, and sounds good. So what role actually did the EDC play in this?
Well, with part of the administration, there was working with under DCAO Andy Rogers. We put together an enormous amount of data and reports on why our sites in Prince George's County were the strongest sites. Again, going over some of the points I made earlier. We renewed history because there were a lot of new people in the General Services Administration. I would also say we were a staff role in the Economic Development Corporation, provided lots of data, lots of bringing materials forward. Again, I worked with people on congressional staffers and people in Maryland Department of Commerce and the county executive's office, so that GSA had all the information they would need to understand that they had this was the winning choice for them.
Okay. Okay. Man, 14 years is a long time. And the way that I'm hearing you explain it, because I'm very familiar with government contracting, from when a government puts out a solicitation. So essentially, the way that it works, just so I'm clear, and maybe others who may not be quite as clear as well, the way that it works is Prince George's County and other jurisdictions were also, in this case, kind of like acting as contractors, bidding on an RFP. Is that how it works?
I think so. Ultimately, the General Service Administration asked for a certain amount of information from Virginia and from Maryland for both here. We worked to put that together in a consolidated, clear, objective manner so that they had all the data they wanted. A critical part of it, Denise, was the landowners had to do their own submission, and we were not part of that. Greenbelt, the Lerner Corporation, which owns the land oversight, and someone on the federal government who owns the Virginia site, they had to submit their own material. We were not privy to that. And so that was part of the analysis. And then GSA did its own very deep digging in this to make sure that this, again, one of the largest construction contracts in U.S. history, that this is in solid shape. This is a done deal, and it was done very, very well.
So if I understand, if I understand it, you said the deal is done. What's the next step? Is it?
There are a lot of very important steps. The GSA's current timetable talks about 42 months before groundbreaking, and it seems like a long time. But what has to happen then? It struck me that and at GSA and WMATA have to close on the price to buy the Greenbelt Metro station lot. Prince George's County has to build a parking garage to replace 2,700 parking spaces at Greenbelt. GSA has to put out an RFP to find out a construction team to build this $3 or $4 billion project. And my understanding of the federal process, that from beginning to end could well take a year by itself with the team together. That team gets selected. It then has to put all the logistics together, supplies and material and labor, and then get ready to break ground 3.5 years from now. So all those things will be sequenced: buy the land, the parking garage, do the RFP for the construction team, and the construction team then goes to town on what will be a long construction. It'll be a phased construction process. So I know there's a lot of businesses are out there wanting to know when can I get part of, what business opportunities can I have? Well, understand.
But before we get to that, I just want to know if you explained a long it sounds like a long process, right? It sounds like a lot, but it still took 14 years. Why did it take so long? Is it because the federal government has other priorities and it's not the only project that we're working on? I know it's how many $billion investment is this?
$3 to $4 billion. It shouldn't have taken this long. It should have been wrapped up in 2016 or 17. When the formal, after all the power talks and so forth, the formal RFP process started at about 2012 or 13. And by 15 and 16, they were ready to make a decision. And then the previous administration, federal administration, canceled it. So it should have been wrapped up in 2016 and 17. The building should be under construction now. It was not. It's not. And thanks to tremendous leadership on Capitol Hill to restart the process, and thanks to Congressman Hoyer, saved several years of the process by essentially not letting GSA start at zero and go, but literally start where they left off. that saved us a lot of time. So really kudos to Congressman Hoyer and his colleagues in Capitol Hill.
Okay. Okay. I
Yeah,
just want to ask.
this should have been done in 2016 and 17, but we are where we are, and we're thrilled to be where we are. This is a wonderful day for Prince George's
It's a
County.
big win. It's a big win. It's a big win. Definitely. No question about it. Knowing that there's been some opposition for it to come to Prince George's County, is there any chance that we could lose it?
We consider this a done deal. Congressman Hoyer said this, Senator Cardin, Senator Van Hollen said this is a done deal. Everything has been checked. GSA was very carefully understanding how big this was. They've gone through it very thoroughly. I would say we're told with great confidence that this is the project is now ready to go to the next stage.
Okay. So now let's talk about what we're really trying to get to here is, what does this mean for small businesses, minority businesses in Prince George's County? Is there, first of all, how much of the project does the county and or state have to do with the procurement process in this?
This is a federal process. This will be an entirely federal process.
Okay.
It'll be handled under consistent with federal procurement policies. There are business set-asides in that, and I know the federal government has an ongoing responsibility. There's also the equity issues that President Biden has spoken about in terms of how the benefit of this project has to serve the local community, but it'll be handled entirely by the federal government. But the Economic Development Corporation is prepared to play a very important leadership role in supporting our small minority businesses and helping them learn and get access to the information. Again, we've talked about how long it's going to be before there's actual construction, and people will do everything we can to get the deadlines and communicate them to our small business community. Denise, I would tell your listeners to look, and start looking on the General Service Administration website, as we will be looking as well. Now, nothing's going to be there now about this, but they'll be moving ahead. Put these construction teams together. That'll be important. The part where Prince George's County, we will be building this new parking garage, and that will certainly have a large component set aside for our small minority contractors in the construction industry. So correcting myself, the construction of the new parking garage will be handled between WMATA and Prince George's County, details to be worked out. And there will absolutely be a commitment to make sure that there's a totally appropriate amount of that project goes to the local small minority business community.
Okay. You mentioned something earlier. You said that the Greenbelt Metro has to be purchased by WMATA. Who owns that now?
Metro owns it now. They've been wonderful partners. They were very aggressive in terms of their sales price to make it very attractive to the General Service Administration. So they will essentially sell that triangular parking lot to.
Okay. I thought you. Okay, I misunderstood.
They won't sell the metro station, just the parking lot, and then we replace the parking lot with a large garage.
Okay. And the 7,500 jobs, they're already existing. Are there any new jobs coming with this project?
We are aware that it's 7,500 jobs of what the General Service Administration has tabled for this project. Those are all existing FBI workers working throughout the region. By the way, the data says that about 41% of FBI employees already live in Maryland. And over time, we'd expect more and more of them will move to be closer to their workplace. The project I anticipate, will have room for expansion and room for later phases as the FBI grows over the following decades. And the site is such that it can accommodate additional growth. But those are 7,500 jobs that are heavily in the Hoover building, but also in a multitude of leases in the Washington metropolitan area that'll be consolidated. One, it'll be safer for FBI employees to be together. Two, it'll be more efficient for them to be in the same working environment as opposed to 20 leases scattered over the city. And it'll have the latest technology. Congressman Hoyer has talked about this will be the best criminal justice public safety facility in the world.
Okay. Oh, that, I can imagine why there are so many smiles on the faces in the leadership here in Prince George's County, Maryland. So I'm going to say congratulations. We do have a question that you may be able to answer here um, from Maynard Smith. Can you see that comment?
I can. One of the really advantages of the Prince George's County location is its proximity not only to NSA but also to the University of Maryland. And absolutely, in our pitch to the General Administration, we talked about how the NSA and FBI would be that much closer and would be able a stronger working relationship. But we're also aware of the University of Maryland, for instance. And I learned this only in the last 6 months. The University of Maryland has the #1 criminal justice graduate program in the United States. There are already extensive connections in cybersecurity and criminal justice between the University of Maryland, again, as well as the NSA connections. So we do expect those institutions to forge greater and stronger working relationships.
Okay, very, very cool. Okay, and I guess I just have another question about all of this is are there going to be, we know they're going to be construction opportunities, but it's all going to be handled through GSA. What about post-construction?
Well, again, the parking garage will be handled between some combination of Metro and Prince George's County. The construction of the FBI facility, as we said, will be a GSA FBI project.
Mhm.
But once the facility is up here, we expect government contractors that do business with the FBI will want to locate here. And so there'll be employment opportunities. There'll be other related functions there. Again, there will be jobs on this site that are here in Prince George's County now that'll be available for county residents to apply for, and frankly, you have the chance to be part of a larger community, working at the FBI, their families living in Prince George's County neighborhoods, their children going to Prince George's County schools, shopping in our stores. This is a really wonderful, wonderful moment for Prince George's County. And I congratulate all of the leaders, County Executive Alsobrooks, who were part of it. I'm just happy that I had a part of it. I've been working on it for 13 years, by the way.
And You've been working on it for 13 years?
Yeah, and it started with Rushmore Baker, who we haven't mentioned, but former County Executive Rushmore Baker. He was totally in support of this project. He was a real strong leader during his 8 years in office. He passed the baton to County Executive Alsobrooks, who's done an amazing job. But this is the massive team that was part of the success that has given Prince George's County one of the greatest days in its economic history.
Well, this is really good information. I look forward to hearing more about it. And it sounds like you are going to definitely, or at least through the EDC, have sessions and keep the small business community abreast of updates where they can have some participation or benefits in this massive, massive news for the county. So I just want to say congratulations. And I want to thank you for carving out time on a Friday night when you could be out partying somewhere.
Well, it's been my pleasure.
Okay. I'd like to get you guys' thoughts and opinions on the information shared in this video. Make sure you give a thumbs up for this video, hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell, and I will see you all on the next video.